down on our mats today. So if you guys want to go ahead and rock yourself down onto your mats. Just take some nice deep breaths first. Another deep breath. Maybe thinking about and bringing your attention to how the mat is holding your body, how the floor is lending support to your frame. And then notice your breath. What is it doing? Where does it land in your body? Is it up in your chest? Is it kind of in your midsection? Is it maybe deep in your belly? And then when you're ready, think about just slowing that breath down a little bit more. For today's meditation, as you continue to breathe, we're going to be talking about seasons, which feels appropriate during this fall when we can actually really see all the colors on the trees and notice the different seasons that we're in. And so I have this meditation to read for us. It says, what does it mean when someone says, "Friend, it has been a season"? Do our souls have seasons? Yes, our souls have seasons. Just ask anyone who has lost a job or a loved one, dealt with divorce, left a town that they didn't want to leave, or on the flip side, is rejoicing over a marriage or the birth of a child or a promotion. Some seasons can be controlled, but many we have no control over whatsoever. There is no meteorologist that can forecast life. At some point in our life, if we live long enough, we go through all the seasons. We can relate the seasons of life to the seasons we see in nature. Just like the seasons in nature, sometimes one season lasts a bit longer than another. So the first question for us to consider today as we breathe deeply is, what season are we in? Maybe what cycle of life? And maybe also, how long have you been in that season? And just like the seasons, they're not good or bad, it just is. So, like we don't label all of winter bad. We know that it can be necessary sometimes for the renewal of all things, just like we don't label the other seasons. So when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and draw our knees into our chest. And if you'd like, you can rock back and forth across that low back space. Just starting to explore again and think about the way that the mat is supporting you. Maybe noticing how that feels across your low back as you rock back and forth from side to side. Continuing to breathe as you do so. When you're ready, you can go ahead and place your feet on the mat. We're going to draw one knee into the chest and then draw the other leg out and down to the mat. Taking a nice deep breath here. And if you would like a little added challenge in this pose, you can start to lift your neck or your head and shoulders off of the mat to engage your core at a deeper level. If that doesn't feel good to you today, then just leave your head and shoulders down on the mat in a relaxed position. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and switch. We're going to take that right knee all the way down to the mat, bringing the left knee up into place. And Breathing deeply as we hold this pose. Then go ahead and release all of that down to the mat. We're going to take the soles of our feet to the mat. We're going to heel toe our feet out as wide as the mat, and then drop one knee in towards the center. You might notice that the hip on that same side comes up off the mat just slightly when you do so, and that's okay. Just getting a really nice stretch along the hip flexor on that side, as well as up into the side body a little bit and across the front of that quad. When you're ready, you can go ahead and draw that knee up and then drop the other knee down towards the center. Continuing to breathe as you do so. And then go ahead and bring that up. We're going to heel toe our feet back together. If you would like, you can either turn onto one side and push yourself up into a seated position, or you can take your hands behind your knees and rock yourself up into a seated position. We're going to come into a comfortable seated pose. You're going to sit nice and tall here, thinking about dropping those shoulders down away from your ears. Also think about creating a little bit of space between your vertebrae as you sit really nice and tall, lifting the crown of your head up toward the ceiling. And then when you're ready, you can start to go ahead and keep that spine straight. You're going to hinge at your hips, coming forward, placing your hands on the mat in front of you. And if you can take it a little bit further, then go ahead and do that. And if not, then just stay where you are. You'll most likely feel this in the outside of the hip of whichever leg is in front. Taking a deep breath. And then when you're ready, walking your hands back to center. We're going to switch whichever leg is in front. Again, thinking about sitting really nice and tall first, extending that spine up toward the ceiling, taking a nice deep breath in, and then hinging at the hips, leaning forward, and placing your hands on the mat, and then walking those hands forward if you have the availability in your body to do so. Taking another deep breath, go ahead and walk those hands back to center. We're going to extend both legs straight out in front of us. We're going to point our toes up toward the ceiling. So the ankles are straight out from your hips. So think about that. And then if you can, also think about just tucking that tailbone down and under slightly. That's going to actually engage all of the abdominal muscles across the low front belly here. Then press your palms into the mat. Think about sitting nice and tall for staff pose. And I know this seems like a pretty static pose. There's a lot going on here. Thinking about engaging all of the muscles in your legs as you do so. Continuing to lower those shoulders out of your ears. And then also continuing to breathe. Very good. Go ahead and walk those fingertips out from your body. And then inhale both arms up. Elongating your spine again, and then hinging at your hips, leaning forward, allowing those arms and hands to come down where they may. Again, just doing what's available in your body. This practice today is about listening to what our lives and our bodies are speaking to us today. When we're ready, we can go ahead and walk those hands back to center. We're gonna fold one leg in and take the other leg out to the side just slightly. And then we're gonna go ahead and place our hands on the mat in front of us and walk those forward once more. Again, just going as far as feels comfortable. Not forgetting to breathe as you do so. And walking those hands back to center, turn toward the long leg, and then crawl those fingers forward. You can go ahead and round down with your back on this one. And then crawl those hands back towards center, sitting nice and tall once more, this time hinging at your hips, seeing if you can keep your back flat and coming down. You'll probably feel this in your hamstring. Taking another nice deep breath. And walking back to center, we're gonna switch sides. So folding one leg in, extending the other leg out. Again, coming towards center, placing your hands on the mat in front of you. And then either walking those hands forward or leaving them there, depending on what your body is able to do today. Take another nice deep breath. Let me read a little bit more of our devotional for today. It says, just like nature's seasons change, we are also meant to cycle through the seasons of life. Winter is the hardest season, and we may feel nothing is happening. We may cry out, are you there, God? Are you hearing me? God is always at work. Our soul may feel dormant, but God is working. Go ahead and crawl those hands back to center. You're going to face the long leg and then tiptoe those fingers forward as you round down over top of that leg first. So allowing a little bit of an arch in your spine as you do so. And then go ahead and come back up, sitting nice and tall again, this time keeping that back flat as possible and hinging at your hips to come forward. Taking a deep breath. When you're ready, you can go ahead and walk those hands back to center. You're going to bring both soles of your feet together in front of you for a butterfly pose. And we can either sit nice and tall here and just kind of bounce those knees, or you can go ahead and fold forward, pressing your elbows into your knees. If this is not quite accessible for you, feel free to take those feet out away from your body a little bit more to make that more accessible for you. The next part of this meditation says, the spiritual season of winter is designed to produce the spiritual strength necessary for us to withstand storms. In John 15, 1-2, Jesus says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. When you're ready, go ahead and release that up. You're going to take your hands to the outside of your knees and help those legs together. We're going to sweep those feet off to one side to come up onto our knees and onto our hands. We're going to all four position here. Y'all, I think this is the third time that I have forgotten my hair thing for yoga. I need to just get a bunch and stick them in my work bag here. All right, so check in with your body that your knees are about hip width apart, that your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. And then when you're ready, you're gonna allow that belly to come down. Just drop down toward the mat, allow the tailbone to come up toward the ceiling and the crown of the head to come up toward the ceiling for cow. And then when you're ready to exhale, go ahead and arch through the back. You're really stretching in through those shoulder blades, allowing the tailbone to tip down toward the mat, tucking your chin as you do so. And then when you're ready to inhale, go ahead and move back into cow. Again, inverting that spine. And then go ahead and follow your own breath. So when you're ready to exhale, stretch into cat pose, really stretching through those shoulder blades. And when you're ready to, I think I said inhale, but I meant exhale, sorry. And when you're ready to inhale, you come down into cow pose. And we're just gonna roll through 5 or 6 of those. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and come back to neutral. You're going to take your toes together and then take your knees as wide as the mat and shift your hips back over your heels as you stretch your arms forward. You can rest your head on the mat for child's pose. And as we rest here in this pose, let me read a little bit further. It says, in God's goodness, he prepares us for the changing of seasons. For everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Seasons of sadness, loss, joy, newness, and growth. Solomon affirms in the book of Ecclesiastes that the seasons of joy and the seasons of hardship are part of the ebb and flow of life that we can anticipate. All these seasons of life are intentional, and we praise God in all seasons. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and press your palms into the mat, helping to pull yourself back up onto all fours. We're going to tuck our toes and then walk our hands back towards our knees as we shift our weight onto the balls of our feet for a little squat position first. And then go ahead and lift your hips up toward the ceiling, allowing the heels to come down to the mat for our first forward fold of the day. And when you're ready, we're going to walk our hands over to the left foot. And then go ahead and walk those hands over to the right foot. And walking back to center, go ahead and bend the knees deeply. And then place your hands on your knees. You're going to slowly round yourself up. Very good. So we're coming into our next flow here. We're going to step forward with our left foot. We're going to keep both of our toes toward that short edge of the mat. And then if you would like, you're going to use those hands to just balance on either side as you stretch forward over that front leg. Now, if this is too far, you're always welcome to put your hands on your knee or on your thigh as you stretch forward. You just come as far as feels comfortable to you. Taking a nice deep breath. When you're ready, you can go ahead and bend that front knee. You're going to step that back foot back into a runner's lunge. And if you don't have your hands on the mat, then you're just here, kind of balancing, and that's fine too. And stepping that back foot in just slightly again, straightening that front leg, coming back into triangle pose. And then if you can, go ahead and start to shift your weight to that front foot. You're gonna walk your hands out in front. And then if you've been here, you're gonna just kind of shift your weight forward, put your hands down on either side, and then start to bring that back leg up parallel to the floor. Again, just doing as much as you can. Then here, we're gonna go ahead and bend our knee and bring it in as we bend our left knee too. And then we're gonna extend out behind us. So we're gonna inhale as we bend, and then exhale as we press out behind us. Inhale as we bend, and then exhale as we press out behind us. We're doing this probably about 4 or 5 times. And then when you're done, you can go ahead and allow that back leg to come down to the mat. And you're gonna start to shift your weight back, and you're back into triangle pose. Then we're planting our hands on the mat as we step that left foot back to meet the right foot. We're gonna kind of walk those feet back behind us, coming down into plank pose. And you're gonna go ahead and lower yourself to the mat. If you need to first lower to your knees and then come all the way down, feel free to do that. Then leaving your palms there, we're gonna push up into cobra. Taking a few deep breaths here. And then lowering all the way down to the mat. Go ahead and inhale and tuck your toes. And then go ahead and push up into plank once more as you exhale. And walk those hands back to meet your feet. Coming into forward fold at the back of your mat. And bending your knees deeply. Placing your hands on your knees. And then slowly rounding yourself up. Very good. So now we're going to do the other side. So we're stepping forward with our right foot this time. I'm going to turn around just to make sure I can continue to face you all. So both of our legs have just a slight bend in them. And then we're going to fold forward over top of that front foot. Again, just coming down as far as feels comfortable to you. Taking a nice deep breath. And when you're ready, you're going to bend that front knee, step back with the left foot, coming into runner's lunge. Feeling the strength in your legs there. And then stepping that back leg in just slightly, straightening the front leg once more. Coming back into triangle pose. And walk those hands forward if you can, bringing the weight onto that front foot. Leaving your palms on the mat. You're going to draw that back foot up and parallel to the floor if you can. You're probably really going to feel this in that front hip. In the back of the front hip, I should say. And then when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and bend that knee in as well as bend the right knee. And then go ahead and straighten both back out. And then inhale and bend. And then straighten both out. Inhale and bend. Straighten both out. Again, doing this 4 or 5 times, depending on your comfort level. And then once you're done, you're going to set that back foot down and then shift your weight back, coming into triangle pose once more. Then planting your hands on the mat, you're gonna step that right foot back and then walk it back into plank pose. And here you're either gonna drop to your knees or just lower straight down, all the way down to the mat. Inhaling, come up into cobra. Take a few deep breaths here. Then lower yourself down. Tuck the toes and inhale. Exhale as you push up into plank pose. And shifting those hips back, walk the hands back toward the feet. Coming into forward fold. Then bending the knees deeply. Go ahead and place your hands on the knees. And slowly, slowly round yourself up. Very good. Is everybody a lot warmer now? Good.
Like this.
Good. We're going to go ahead and come toward the long edge of our mat. So we can go ahead and do that. We're going to turn our toes out toward the corners. And then go ahead and sink our hips down into what we call horse pose or goddess pose. And then when you're ready, you're going to stand up out of that pose and you're going to raise your arms out into star. And then as you exhale, go ahead and come back into horse pose. We're going to do that again 4 or 5 times. Again, going at your own pace, following your own breath. So when you need to inhale, stand up. And then when you need to exhale, go ahead and sink down. And standing up once more. Go ahead and drop both arms, leaving the legs there. Very good. We're going to heel toe our feet together. We're going to go ahead and sit our hips back, coming into chair pose. And then if you would like, you can either bring your hands up to heart center, or you can bring them straight out in front of you for a bit of balance. And here we're going to raise onto one set of toes, and then down, and then raise onto the other set of toes, and then down, and then stand up. Very good. And then shake that out. I'm going to lose my sweatshirt. Whew. Yep. So we're going to do that again. So again, standing nice and tall, thinking about the balance of those feet, shifting our hips back, coming down into chair pose, then raising one set of toes, and down, raising onto the other set of toes, and down, and then standing back up. Very good. Shaking that out. We're going to come back to the back of our mat once more for our next flow. Okay, we're going to step forward with our left foot, coming into a nice crescent lunge here. So you might think about how both of your feet are pressing into the mat. You're on the ball of that back foot. You're going to go ahead and lift up those arms in the front. And then when you're ready, you're going to blade that back foot, which means you're going to turn it and open up your hips toward the long edge of the mat as you allow your arms to come down into warrior two. Then you're going to straighten that front leg, drop the back arm, lift the front arm up toward the ceiling. When you're ready, you're going to bend that front leg, bringing the front elbow to that front knee, extending the other arm up overhead for side angle. Then coming up out of that, come back into warrior two arms, but both legs are straight. And then bend that front leg. Then you're going to turn, taking this back arm, sweeping it through turning toward the short edge of the mat, coming onto the ball of that back foot. Then stepping forward. Gonna inhale both arms up. And then go ahead and exhale both arms down. Very good. Then stepping back to the back of the mat again. We'll do the other side. So we'll step forward with the right foot this time. Except I'm gonna turn around to face you all. So again, the front knee is slightly bent. And the back heel is over the back ball of the foot. And then we're gonna raise those front arms. Get a nice deep breath here. And we're gonna turn that back foot so that it's perpendicular to the front. Open up the arms, turning the hips toward the side for warrior two. Straighten that front leg, drop the back arm, lift the right arm up toward the ceiling. Then bend the front knee, taking that right elbow to the right knee. Extend the left arm up overhead for side angle. Then coming up out of that, go ahead and stand up. You've got warrior two arms, but both legs are straight. And then exhale down as you bend that front knee. We're taking this back arm, sweeping it through as we turn to face the short edge of the mat. That means the back heel comes up off the mat. And we're gonna step forward. Inhale both arms up. And then exhale both arms down. Very good. So we're gonna do that whole series again. So we're gonna step forward with our left foot. So you guys kind of know where we're going now. Raising those two front arms. And go ahead and open up into warrior two. And then go ahead and straighten that front knee. Drop the back arm, lift up for exalted warrior. And go ahead and bend the front knee as you take that left elbow to the left knee. Right arm comes up overhead for side angle. Then lifting up into warrior two arms, straighten those legs. And bend that front knee. Take that back arm, sweep it through as you allow the back heel to come up. And step forward. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, both arms down. Very good. We got one more of those to do on the other side. I'll switch around here. So stepping the right foot forward. We're coming into crescent lunge on the right hand side. Taking a nice deep breath here. Then go ahead and open up to the side, allowing that back foot to be perpendicular to the front. Then go ahead and straighten that front leg, drop that back arm, lift the right arm for exalted warrior. Then go ahead and take that right elbow to right knee as you bend it, coming into side angle. Then lifting up into warrior two arms, straight legs. Then go ahead and bend that front knee, coming down. Take that back arm, sweep it through as you turn toward the short edge of your mat. Step forward. Inhale, both arms up. And then exhale, both arms down. Very good. Very good. That concludes the active portion for today. We did it. We got through it.
Now we're all sweating.
I know, we are. That's good though. We're gonna go to our balancing posture. So if you guys want to move to hold on to something for this, feel free to do that. If you feel comfortable staying on your mat, feel free to do that too. So today we're gonna start with our feet hip width apart. And I'd love for you guys to start by just rocking back and forth across your feet. Kind of feeling how the ground feels. And then when you found a comfortable position for your feet, go Go ahead and let those toes kind of float down, settle into that position. Think about drawing your belly button in towards your spine. When we do that, that actually puts our tailbone in its most natural and neutral position. And then think about, again, extending the vertebrae up toward the ceiling, taking those shoulders down away from your ears. Maybe opening up your palms toward the front. Taking a few deep breaths here in mountain pose. So you are energetically pushing your feet into the mat as well as lifting the crown of your head up toward the ceiling, creating lots of length in your body. And when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and shift your weight to the left foot. You're going to bring that right foot in like a little kickstand here. And once you feel comfortable in this stance, you're going to take your hands to your heart center for tree pose. And from here, you can start to explore a little further. So if you'd like to try to bring that right leg up your leg, you can. If you'd like to try to extend branches, aka arms, out to either side, you can. I find it's usually helpful to focus on one spot as I do my balancing postures. Holding this, breathing as you do so. And then go ahead and bring those arms back in, slide that leg back down and step out. Release those arms down, excuse me, into mountain pose once more. If you need to shake out your legs, feel free to do that. Okay, then we're gonna start in mountain pose once more. Taking a few centering breaths. Feeling your balance. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and start to shift your weight to the right foot, drawing that left foot in like a little kickstand. And then taking both hands to your heart center. And then from here, feel free to explore as far as you would like. Maybe taking those arms out to either side if you would like. Maybe you're not feeling like a tree today, maybe you're feeling like a cactus, and so you want to do cactus arms. That's fine too. And then when you're ready, take those hands back to heart center. Release that foot down, step out, and then shake out anything that needs to be shaken out. We're going to go ahead and come back into a seated pose on our mats. We're going to return to the stance that we had where we have one leg out and one leg folded in. Place those hands on the mat and then again walk ourselves slowly forward. You might notice how this position feels different now as opposed to when we started. Your muscles should be feeling probably a lot warmer, but just notice the differences. And let me continue to read for us our meditation for today. It says, when Scripture declares that for everything there is a season, this means that the various circumstances we go through in life are not an accident, but orchestrated or allowed by God with great purpose and intentionality. The good news is that whatever season we are in at this time, we can be confident the season will come to an end. Romans 8:31 tells us, whatever God takes us through has a purpose. When we believe that even though the seasons of our soul change, God does not change, then our hope is in knowing that God will never leave us or forsake us. Every season is purposeful in leading us into a deeper relationship with God and creating a stronger faith. When you're ready, you can go ahead and walk those hands back to center. And turn to face the long leg. And then again, crawl your fingers forward as you bend over that long leg. And let me continue reading for us. It says, the harder seasons of life make the good seasons that we have that much more joyful and sweet. If all our seasons were good, our nature would be to take them for granted. It is a delicate balance. Taking our cue from nature, we know that at the end of winter, there is springtime. Spring is when we see the seeds that were planted begin to come to life. This season represents spiritual renewal and refreshment. When you're ready, you can walk your hands back to center. You're going to switch whichever side you have. So bending the other leg in, extending the other leg out, coming back to center, placing your hands on the mat, walking those hands forward slowly. It says, when summer comes, the days are warm and long. Some of us may feel a spiritual dryness or a dry spell that seems to never end. There can be seasons where we're growing and continuously bearing fruit, and there can be seasons where the focus is on pruning branches that no longer serve us. It's important to realize that we need all seasons. When you're ready, you can walk your hands back to center, turn toward that long leg, and then crawl those fingers forward as you bend over top of that long leg. In all the seasons, remember that God's timing is different than our timing. It's easy to lose faith and hope when seasons don't seem to transition. But we are called as followers of Jesus to lean in and trust that whatever season we find ourselves in, we believe it is for God's glory. That is our purpose, to bring God glory in all things. When you're ready, you can walk those hands back towards center. Go ahead and pull that leg in, coming back into our butterfly stretch here. Bouncing your knees or bending forward as is comfortable for you. Remembering to breathe. When you're ready, you can go ahead and release that. We're going to take our hands to the outside of our knees, help our knees together, and then lower ourselves down onto the mat into a lying down position. We're going to go ahead and take our right knee in toward our chest. Taking some deep breaths. Continuing to allow our bodies to cool down. If you would like, you can take your left hand to the opposite side of that right knee. Take the right arm out to the side and then allow that right knee to come across the body for a little spinal twist. Then coming back to center, go ahead and pull that knee back into your chest. Release that down to the mat. Bring the left knee up. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and take the right hand to the outside of that knee. Allow the left arm to come out to the side. And then stretch that knee across the body again for a little spinal twist on the other side. Taking a nice deep breath. Then go ahead and come back to center, drawing that knee into your chest, and then releasing that down to the mat. And go ahead and allow the feet to fall open. Allow there to be kind of neutral space in your low back. That means that you need to bring your feet up to the mat to help yourself find that space. Feel free to do that. Taking your arms down alongside your body. I do a little body scan here, starting at our feet. So again, bringing attention to our feet, relaxing the arches, relaxing the toes, relaxing the ankles, moving up to your shins and your calf muscles. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath here, allowing any tension to be released that you might have felt in those spaces. And go ahead and draw your attention to your knees, relaxing all the little muscles around the kneecaps and on the back side of the knee. And taking a deep breath and letting go of any tension you might feel in your quad muscles or in your hamstrings. Relaxing the hip flexors, the outside hips, the back of your hips as well. Releasing any tension you might feel in your low back, and in your belly space. Breathing deeply and releasing any tension you might feel in your lungs or in your chest, in your mid-back, and in your upper back. Think about relaxing your fingertips, as well as your wrists, your forearms, elbows and biceps and triceps. Releasing any tension you might be feeling in your shoulders and in your neck, in your jawline. Go ahead and relax your temples and your cheekbones, your eyebrows, and your forehead, and finally the crown of your head. I will take a few moments in this relaxed state to just be present in the moment. And then I'll call us back together when we're ready to wrap up our time together. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Start to bring your awareness back to this moment. Go ahead and roll to one side, and then gently push yourself up into a seated position. And then sitting nice and tall, go ahead and I'm going to invite you to place your hand over your heart, or you can open your palms on your knees if you would like. And let me read this prayer for us from our meditation. It says, Lord, thank you for allowing us to go through difficult seasons. Help us to seek you in these times. Remind us of your promises. We know that your timing is perfect and that every season has its purpose. While we may not understand what you are working in our lives at this moment, we will put our trust in you. We will praise you in the good times and the bad times. In your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you.